Good morning. After an outstanding second semi-final of the Eurovision Song Contest 2019, we're going to look back at that show, but also ahead to the grand final. We have the running order as well. A lot of stuff to talk about with Chief Editor Steef van Gorkum from ESC Daily, who is going through our website now to check out what that running order is. You can of course also do that. But first, Steve, before we talk about the final, let's talk about the show of last night, which was, when we compare it to the first semi-final, of very high quality.
Not just when you compare it to the first semi-final, actually. When you compare it to, I don't know, to even if you have nothing to compare it to, because I had colleagues of mine who've never watched Eurovision before who were always a bit skeptical, and who now were going to watch because I was there, and sending me messages like, wow, I'm singing along to almost every song, I never expected the quality would be this high. So, yeah, and I don't think they would have said that if they'd watched the first semi-final, but that's fine because now we're onto the second semi and we saw so many great entries and we saw 10 great ones qualify. So the grand final is also going to be of a very high level.
Yes, not a lot of big surprises in this second semi-final. Perhaps Albania was a surprise for some people. Is that the one that stands out most when you have to look for something?
Yeah, it was the only one that I didn't predict. My main reason for that was that all the really outspoken ethnic stuff was eliminated on Tuesday, so I figured that's the vibe that we're going with this year. But then again, you could also argue that there was a lot of outspoken ethnic stuff in the first semi-final and it may have stealing votes from each other, whereas in this semi-final there was only 1.5 ethnic song basically, and so maybe that's why it actually got the points. So yeah, Albania, congratulations, deservedly into the final. Their jury final performance was very good, and I wasn't really surprised. I wasn't really surprised by any of the results.
We see that a lot of countries that didn't make the cut yesterday evening, they were in the final last year, like Ireland, Moldova, a lot of new countries in the final when we compare it to last year.
Yeah, and it's always a little bit the case like that. I know you're very keen on checking that every year, and you tell us. This year is definitely no exception. There's a lot of countries. Well, last year we had a lot of countries not qualifying for the first time, and then there's a few of them that took revenge this year. But for example, Armenia and Romania didn't. Yes, we always have a different final field in the end, and that's because the quality of the song matters, and it's very difficult for countries to really come up with something strong for a lot of years in a row, and that's why we have surprises in that sense every year.
Let's look at the big three, as I call them, of this year. The Netherlands, Russia, and Sweden, all in the first half of the grand final. The Netherlands arguably got the best starting position in 12th place. What does that say about the result of yesterday night? Russia in 5th place to perform, Sweden in 9th, and the Netherlands in 12th.
Well, there's one thing that I think is quite sure. It's that Russia didn't win this semi-final because they wouldn't have stuck it at place 5 if it won. Might even have been 3rd or even 4th in this semi-final. Who knows? The quality of the entries was so good that if Russia was not as strong as we expected it would be, it could easily already drop a few places. That's speculation, of course. The fact that they got starting position 5, it's not a major issue for them because it's a very memorable performance. It has strong vocals. It has the voting power of Sergei Lazarev. Whether it's still a winner, that depends. Netherlands obviously got the better slot. They're right after Cyprus as well, which I think will make them stand out. It's a very nice draw for them. The fact that Greece is after them is a little bit weird for me because I think those two songs are quite similar, but in visuals they're also so different that the Netherlands will stand out from that position, and maybe now they really are, even for me and not just for the bookies, front runner for this year's Eurovision victory.
What about Australia? Because all these favorites are in the first half of the show, and then way at the end, one song before we get Spain. I want to talk about Spain after this as well. But one song before the end, we get Australia. We get Kate Miller-Heidke on stage with all that visual power and spectacle, and maybe she even won the first semi-final. What are her chances tomorrow?
It's so difficult for me to estimate Australia this year. I love the entry. I, of course, hope that we're going to do well. it's a song that you could argue both for televoters and for juries to go either way. I would say it's more for televoters this year, simply because of the fact of the image of the performance, basically. That would be great for Australia to catch the televote for a change, because that hasn't happened before. I hope that she can convince the jury vote as well, but that a lot of that, I said before, will depend on how the juries will perceive it. Will they see the fact that this is actually very difficult what Kate is doing, standing on that pole and still singing, and singing so well? Or will they be distracted by the pole at all and just pull it off as and set it aside for that reason? I don't know. I don't really think that Australia is a big contender for victory, but it would be so great if we can get top 5 again, and that's possible with this draw.
What about Switzerland? They are up before Australia, and we saw the vibe on social media and stuff like that. It was high when it came to the Swiss performance.
It was even higher than I expected, because I've always felt that Luca Heni's entry was good, but 5 through 8 good, not actual winner potential. But then if you look at this, and of course it's all speculation, but if you also look at the running order draw that Russia had, you're going to wonder, did he even maybe crack the top 3 in last night's semi-final? They, of course, gave him a good spot because there was not a lot of competition in this second half. Not a lot of big favorites were there, but they still gave it to him. And he has that spot now, and he can provide from it. He will, of course, stand out after a ballot like Serbia. He's nicely towards the end of the show. He can get a good televote, and I've always felt that he can always also get quite a nice jury vote as well, because he sings and dances at the same time, and he sings in key, and that's difficult to pull off.
As promised, Spain, is that they are the closing act of the grand final of this year, of course. Are they the nation of the big 5 countries that has the best potential to get the highest score? Because Italy, for many people we saw, was a bit of a letdown. In Spain, it's just good, jolly old fun.
It is, and it has a running order that works for them. A lot has been said whether the last spot in running order is actually a good spot. I think for them it is, because, as you say, it's just good fun, and that's nice to close off the show like that, and that works in Spain's favor as well. It may even get them a chance to get top 10, even a bit higher in the top 10. I don't see it get top 5, because there's already a lot of male performers in there, and for the balance in that, I think we need another female to get there. But it would be great to see Spain, after a few lost years, a few really bad entries, to get back to the top 10.
We have talked almost 8 minutes now, and to close it off, one thought that just popped my mind. We didn't really speak about Jan Lundvik. Is that my mistake, that I didn't really throw up his name, or does it say something?
Well, they gave him a good spot in the running order, so it's not like there's no chance he will have made top 3 in last night's semi-final. But I got a lot of reactions from people at home, people outside of the bubble who are watching it for the first time, as I said, and none of them really mentioned Sweden to me. Or if they did, they said, well, you said that this was a favorite. I think it's just, okay. I mean, he's good, but the song is not that special. So I got a lot of mellow vibes from there. He wasn't really trending on social media as well. I think he could get a disappointing televote. I still think he's a potential jury vote winner. So we really cannot disregard him when it comes to a top result in this year's contest.
And when we talk about the jury vote of the final tonight, we will follow with the vocal assessments of the grand final of the Eurovision Song Contest 2019. Always an exciting evening. I'm looking ahead to blogging that together with you, Steef. And I hope you will join us at escdaily.com tonight to follow all the action of that very, very important show. Enjoy your day.